Morning to one and all present here. I'm Ramya Devi working as Assistant Professor in SNS College of Engineering. So today I'm going to share a small article regarding HTTP response message and web clients. So this is the overall structure of an HTTP response message, so which we will get back from our web server. So once the request is raised by a web client, so HTTP get through internet, the HTTP reply will be come back from the web server to the client which has been requested the HTTP request. So here is the overall structure of an HTTP response message. So the first line is the HTTP 1.1, which is the version of the HTTP we are using, and 200 is the success message. This is the success code from the internet, and then OK is displayed for the success message of how the HTTP reply is get back through the HTTP get. So and there is a timestamp like for the HTTP response message, so which is on Friday, and then the server from which the the HTTP request has been processed, and then the modified date and the E tag, content length, the seconds which has been alive for our HTTP message, and then the connection which is alive or not, and the content type, whether it is an image or an HTML image. So this is the structure of the HTTP response. The first line is the status line and the header field, blank line and the message body. So the status line is HTTP, the version, and 200 OK. So the status line consists of three fields. One is the version, status code, and then the text string. So there is an n number of status code indicating the type of response and a text string, so which is a 3-digit number. The first digit represents the general class of status code. The other two digits provide additional information. So 1 is for informational, which provides the information to client before request processing has been completed. 2 is the success, request has been successfully processed or not, and 3 is the redirection, client needs to use a different resource to fulfill request, and 4 is the client error, which the client's request is not valid, and 5 is the server error, an error occurred during server processing of a valid client request. And these are all the common status codes. Here 200, which is the recommended recent phrase, is OK, and the meaning of this is request is processed normally. And next is the 301, in which the requested URI has been moved permanently, and 307 is used for the URI has been temporarily redirected. 401 is an unauthorized access, 403 is forbidden, and 404 the resource we are requesting is not found in the internet, and 500 is the internal server error. And this is the structure of the response, in which the second line is the date, server, last modified, the expiry date of your HTTP response, and the E tag, accept ranges, and the location. So date, in which the time at which a response was generated, is used for cache control, and this field must be supplied by the server. And server is information identifying the server software generating this response. The last modified time at which a resource returned by this request was last modified, and expires time after which the client should check with the server before retrieving the returned resource from the client's cache. And E tag is the hash code of the resource returned if the resource remains unchanged on subsequent request. Then the E tag value will also remain unchanged. Otherwise the E tag value will change, and which is also used for the cache control. And this is the accept ranges. So clients can accept that only a portion of a resource be written by using the range header field. So this might also if the resource is a large PDF file and only a single page is currently needed. So accept ranges specifies the units that may be used by the client in a range request, or none if range requests are not accepted by the server for this resource. So location is used in responses with redirect status code to specify new URI for the requested resource. And the next concept is client caching. A cache is a local copy of information obtained from some other source. So most of the web browsers use cache to store requested resources, so that subsequent requests to the same resource will not necessarily require an HTTP request or a response. For example, an icon appearing multiple times in a web page. So this is the diagram behind the client caching. Here there is a client and the server. So here the client request an HTTP request for an image. The response will be get back from the HTTP web server. So the image will be stored in a cache. So first it will check in the cache memory. If it is not available, then it will go to the web server for processing the request. So what are the advantages of cache memory? So it is much faster than HTTP request or response because it uses internet, and we can avoid the network traffic and less load on server. The disadvantages is cached copy of the resource may be invalid. Thank you.